So hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the Memento support, specifically all the new support and my impressions on it. And honestly, the Memento support, not really that great in my opinion. So if we look at Memento pre-support, this is more or less the core. So we have 3 of Anguish, 3 of Darkblade, 3 of Tatsuno to Shigo. We have 1 Horned Dragon, 1 Combined Creation, and then we have a few more one-offs here. 3 Bone Party, 3 Fusion, and Cranium Burst is not mandatory, but it's really nice to have in case you open either a copy of Bone Party or Fusion. You'll end up having doubles, so having a Cranium Burst is not too bad because overall in the combo we get to search 3 spells or traps, and this is 1, 2, 3 spells or traps, so kind of adds up. And your searches are located 1 on Goblin, you have 1 on Mace, and then 1 on Fusion. And Fusion can also search itself, so we could banish Fusion, pop one of our monsters to search another Fusion for next turn as well, to then make Guardian Chimera or something. So that is just something we can do. And yeah, in terms of searches, if we throw in at least 1 Cranium Burst, if we open, let's say, Bone Party in our hand, we can then, well, we can't use Bone Party on this turn. We could technically search another one for next turn, but it's not necessarily that great. Well, pre-support, I guess it's not as good. Bone Party, I think, is a little bit better afterwards. Like, I mean, some hands you'll see usage as like kind of an endboard piece where you can use this to either special summon the Horned Dragon or pop the Horned Dragon with the Bone Party, depending on the exact situation. You could also Bone Party to summon Darkblade to then pop a back row. So let's say, for example, we do a special summon Diabellstar to set Original Sinful. We could pop Original Sinful by summoning Darkblade. I mean, there are caveats with this, like having to discard a Memento card from the hand to activate this effect, but yeah, you can technically do that. So now, in terms of main deck cards, what do we change really about, well, without taking away the essence of the deck, I guess, we'll just, yeah, that's it. That's what you change. You're adding essentially more Garnets to start. Yeah, so in terms of Garnets, before we throw in the 2 new pieces of support, how many Garnets are we actually running here? And how many are actually just combo pieces? So if we cut Cranium Burst, this is kind of a Garnet. It's bad to open because you need this as specifically an endboard piece, more or less. But it's not like the worst thing to open in the world, I suppose. But yeah, if we look at in terms of Garnets, we have Memento Tekutlika Combined Creation is a pseudo Garnet. There are use cases for this, like you can still use it as a Memento name for either Bone Party or Fusion, so it's not like the worst thing in the world in that regard. But aside from that, we have, in terms of 1 card, if we just open a solo Combined Creation here, this is going to do nothing. Horned Dragon, this does nothing. Mace also does nothing. Gaddock is also kind of bad. There are like hands where Gaddock will be fine as like an extender. This is like a bit better than these 2, for example, or potentially Mace, I think is well, pretty indifferent to Mace. I think opening Mace means you can get 1 more body onto the field, I believe. I'm not really sure what Gaddock means. I don't remember. But yeah. So this is not combo, this is not combo, this is not combo, this is not combo, and then actually, in reality, this, all of these cards, they're actually not combo as well. So if we look at just the core by itself, and in terms of 1-card combos, none of these are 1-card combos, right? This ain't going to combo, right? So that's 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10, 11. So about half of our core is not combo. So if we want these to be combo, so with specifically Bone Party is any Memento plus Bone Party is combo. All right. So this would be fine if we opened any other Memento, but if we don't open the memento we need, it can kind of suck. So if we have, for example, Anguish plus Bone Party or Darkblade plus Bone Party, that's still pretty solid. So for example, normal summon Darkblade. If this gets Ash, we can Bone Party into Anguish. We can Bone Party this. Well, if we get Impermed or anything like that, just pretty much anything, we can just do that and it's not very problematic at all. Okay, now if we have Fusion, well, let's assume we opened the Absolute Worst hand where we have like Combined Creation. If we had Bone Party plus Combined Creation, this is still combo because we can, even if we can't normal or do anything with this, we can pop this to put this into the graveyard and summon it later. We just don't have to send or add this later, which is fine. And with the Bone Party, we can just combo, special summon, Darkblade, go into Anguish, and we have combo, right? So if we have Fusion plus Combined Creation, this is absolutely not combo. It could technically be combo if you're like feeling especially psychopathic, like, I don't know, if we were to maybe do something with, I don't know, let's say, for example, Fiendsmith, because you attract, discard Fusion to pop Engraver or something, and then grab Bone Party to then go into popping Combined Creation with Bone Party, and then having combo from there. But, you know, you really don't have a way to get the Fusion into the grave or anything to pop for Fusion to kind of do that, unless you're playing a third card, so kind of moot point, right? But, alright. Next thing with Fusion is, when is Fusion actually activatable? So to perform a Fusion summon, you need more or less 2 monsters at minimum, right? So if I were to open, let's say, Anguish plus Fusion, I can use the Fusion later in the combo and I just don't have to search the Fusion, right? So in that regard, that's not that bad, right? But if my combo is interrupted, right? So let's say normal summon Anguish, I get hit by Ash, Imperm, whatever. The only way I can extend off of Fusion is if I have another Memento card. So in that regard, it's significantly worse than Bone Party, right? So in terms of just playing through, well, hand traps and such, Memento can do it because you technically do have the extenders, but they're not good extenders, I would argue, right? And that applies to Sleepy as well. Sleepy is problematic in the same sort of ways as like Bone Party and Fusion, but I'd put this closer to Fusion rather than Bone Party because Bone Party is a lot better than Sleepy in terms of like being an extender, right? So if I were to, let's say, have Sleepy in hand with Anguish, I normal summon Anguish, my opponent imperms me. So what can I do about that with Sleepy? So Sleepy's effect only allows you to quick effect special summon this card from your hand if specifically a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect. So interestingly enough, if our opponent gave us a monster, we could actually special summon Sleepy if they also destroyed that monster, which I'm not sure when that would come up. But actually, now that I think about it, if someone gave us a token and then we activated Token Collector, that would be enough to trigger Sleepy, but that doesn't necessarily do anything for you unless you have 3 Memento cards in your hand to make Tikudlika Creation King. So that's kind of neat, I suppose, if that ever comes up. But aside from that, you know, normal summon Anguish gets ashed, not an extender. Normal summon Darkblade gets ashed, not an extender. If I do normal summon Darkblade gets impermed, special summon Tatsuno Toshigo, this gets ashed, then Sleepy, no effect. If Fusion effect to pop our guy doesn't go through, Sleepy, no effect, right? So this becomes kind of a Garnet. So the main purpose of Sleepy is really just to have it as a send target for Tatsuno Toshigo. So the send targets you would have done before would be just like send Goblin, send Mace, and then Anguish, even if you already have Anguish in rotation, because you don't necessarily want to send Gaddock. There's some hands where you might want to, but for the most part, it's just sending these 3 because, you know, it adds up to the levels for Tatsu, and you would much rather use Goblin's effect to send Gaddock alongside something for Gaddock to add. So, like, Fusion, Cranium Burst, Bone Party, Memento Miklon, Fracture Dance, just whatever in general, right? So the primary issue here is that your extenders don't like work unless certain conditions are met, and those conditions uh, are pretty hefty, I would say, because you need conditions on conditions. So if we throw in Sleepy with Fusion, they're kind of just not that great together, I guess. That's one way to look at it. So yeah. If we also throw in Akirin, this is completely just a useless card in hand, much like the Combined Creation. So Combined Creation, of course, can be special summoned by shuffling 5 Memento monsters from your hand and or graveyard into the deck / extra deck. Well, you need to set that up first. And the effect for Akirin, all of these effects need setup. So Akirin itself doesn't really help with the setup. It's just part of the setup, I suppose. So in that regard, also not great. And this adds more garnets in your main deck, which kind of also sucks. So consistency wise, this doesn't improve your ability to get into your end board. This support only improves your end board, which, I mean, it could be helpful in some ways, but you also, I forgot, you also do want to run Memento Miklon if you're running with all the new support cards, because you're going to be needing at least one copy of the field spell to search off of the Creation King. So yeah, you're going to want that as well. And in terms of the targets for us to search, let's back real fast. So don't remember exactly how you do the new combo, but idea of Sleepy being able to send a card if you do destroy it, and then that would allow Memento Miklon to actually add back a spell trap. And how you send Sleepy and get access to Sleepy, I think we can just grab Sleepy with, well, we can send Sleepy with Tatsunoto Shiga, and then whenever we pop Sleepy, we can probably bring back the Goblin with the effect of Memento Miklon. So I'm thinking we pop Sleepy with preferably Fusion if possible. So we can do that, and then Akirin can add Fusion that's banished as well. So I think you also still have the same issue of not having enough search targets if you don't run something like a Cranium Burst or Fracture Dance. It feels a little unoptimal in that case, but it's just questionable if you need this extra interruption or not, I suppose. So I guess the good thing about the list, we'll go over like a few good things, I suppose. The deck is able to play around and play through Nib with several different methods, but I mean the simplest method is simply making SP. So you have SP, so if I SP, special summon SP first, so we can go like Link off Gaddock plus Horn Dragon, and then special summon Memento Tekutlika Combined Creation. If my opponent were to activate Nibiru, I can just banish Combined Creation plus SP, or whatever else I want to keep, and then we're just solid, and the Nib doesn't really do anything to us, which is nice, I guess. So you have that going, I suppose. That thing, macro, terrible. Fusion Graveyard effect, Tattoo effect to send guys to the graveyard. Anguish effect needs to specifically do a Monster Reborn. You have a lot of kind of like Monster Reborning going on here. And also, your turns take a million years. Like, even if you're a good player, there's just like a bajillion steps to the combo. So yeah, that's painful, and that also makes it kind of new player unfriendly, because if you mess up one step, it's going to be pretty bad, and sometimes not recoverable, and you just end on something like completely terrible. So you have that problem as well. And let's throw in another good thing: Mementoland Darkblade and Mementoland Bone Party. These two cards are really good at dealing with floodgates in various ways. So We have fusion as well, which helps with dealing with floodgates a little bit. So what we can do is we can normal summon Darkblade if we have, well, this requires like a hefty amount of mementos, but let's say we do normal summon Darkblade, pitching combine creation, then we enchain Bone Party to pop the Darkblade, and that would be able to out like a skill drain, right? Or we could just normal summon Darkblade and use its effect to out some kind of floodgate just by itself like that. So that's pretty good. And then there's also technically, let's assume if we have DPE, because technically you can run Verte in this deck if you really want to, right? So we can use DPE effect to pop. So as Chainlink 2, I think. And we can use Horn Dragon to effect to pop and stuff. Actually, wait, does DPE work for this? No, it doesn't. Because fusion isn't a quick effect to pop, so it doesn't really work. I mean, I'm sure that there's something that you can do with this, but yeah, this could probably be used to out some sort of floodgate, maybe. But yeah. You have some options for floodgates, having actually some main deck backer removal with the Darkblade. So we also have, of course, the option of Bone Party popping any of our mementos to summon the Darkblade. So you have a lot of Darkblade access. So we have like 6 copies of Darkblade right here, technically, like kind of ish, to deal with back row. So going second, it can win you some games, like an amount. I'm not going to say it wins you a lot of games because honestly, it really shouldn't win you that many games. Because pitching a memento card kind of sucks to an extent, but you know, it can definitely win you games. So yeah, I would say that's absolutely true. And yeah, if we think about like big picture, I don't think the support helps out Memento that much. So you do have like a higher ceiling, but the floor remains unchanged. And not only the floor, but your going second ability doesn't really improve with the Akirin, the Memento Miklon, the Sleepy. You can consider these all as technically bad cards for going second, right? This is bad, this is bad, this is bad. So I need to get this out of hand for it to be usable, but my opponent is going to try stopping my play, so this is just going to be frustrating seeing this in hand. Sleepy, this might be useful, but only if you open a decent chunk of engine. But if I just opened enough non-engine, I could stop my opponent's play, and maybe I could play just fine anyways. So it's kind of like pointless, I guess. Memento Miklon Teku, like a Creation King. This card here, yeah, it's kind of mixed feelings really. All around from me. So you can target an equal number of momentum monsters you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So the max number of momentum monsters you could destroy off of this is 6. So at most you could do like pop 6 cards at the same time. But you know what else exists? We have cards like Zeus and Zeus-like effects. So knowing that those exist, this becomes just a little bit lackluster. It's still not that bad, right? But not that insane either. The effect of Foolish 3, honestly, because of these guys existing, it just kind of works out. But if you want to summon this, and also this, so Twin Dragon and the Creation King, you would need to run Sleepy and Fusion. So, yeah. That doesn't feel necessarily that great either. But, you know, it works like pretty fluidly. I guess you have that going for you. But essentially, if we removed these 3 cards, the deck still functions just fine, right? The Creation King, Akirin, Sleepy. And in terms of 1-card combos, of course, we have Goblin, Anguish, Darkblade, Tatsuno Toshigo. And that gives us like 9, 10 1-card combos. And I don't remember what the best sequence for Tatsuno Toshigo is, but it's Tatsuno Toshigo special summon, sending Gaddock to add Goblin, normal summon. Actually, wait, was it goblin? No, not goblin. Gaddock to grab goblin, right? Yes. I think that's what it was. And then what is goblin sending? Oh yeah, goblin's supposed to send fusion, I think. And then wait, what are we supposed to have on our field after this? Wait, Gaddock. Oh yeah, we have Gaddock on the field after goblin pops itself. And then you can either grab fusion or bone party, technically, off of itself, and then you can either go into twin dragon or like a dark blade and combo off from there. I'm not 100% sure which sequence was better. It's probably not too different, or it might just be like literally the same. Kind of hard to calc out because so many damn steps. But yeah, the support, yeah, it raises the ceiling, but the floor remains unchanged. And not only the floor, this is taking up, well, I mean, you can change out some cards and stuff, but because we require putting in these essentially garnets, right? So with the Akirin, the Memento Miklon, none of these are starters. None of these are really extenders, except with Tatsunoko Shigo plus Memento Miklon is kind of okay. Aside from that, I don't think there's anything you can really do with Memento Miklon that's super crazy. So for the most part, we have, I would say, no real positives from adding these cards to our main deck. I would say it's strictly negative. Taking away from non-engine slots where you could be running like triple tactics, talents, thrust, ash blossom, imperm, effect failure, whatever, like Nibiru. Not 100% sure what you would run for non-engine at any given time. I guess like could be running Bestials, right? So there might be like a game where you're losing because you could have had Magnuma instead of like, I don't know, let's say Akirin or Leapy. So if we take that into consideration, like in our best of one format that is Master Duel, that's essentially why Memento is not like benefiting that much off of the support, in my opinion. Because the support just doesn't really help if you're going second game plan. It only helps if you're going first game plan, but not really, because these guys aren't even really good as extenders. They're kind of like garnets straight up, and kind of things you need to play for your combo pieces. So of course there's like some synergy with these effects, with most notably the Memento Miklon, but aside from that, it's just not that great. And even if we like cut Cranium Burst, it's not going to make enough of a difference, I'd say, for your consistency. This is literally one card. Akirin and Shalipi are 2 cards, and then you're also running Miklon, which is 3 cards. So like, if we do this is like 10% of our deck gone, which is a lot and not a lot at the same time. Well, depending on how you feel about 10%, I guess. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.